Hi, welcome to or back to my channel. I'm Emily and today I'm filming another book video. This is a video about all the books I want to read before the year ends. So we're in November now, so that means a few weeks of 2024 left to keep reading. I have a massive reading list at all times. It's part of my personality. I'm always adding more books to be read and they just it gets a bit out of control. These are the select few that I'm hoping to get to before next year. So to begin with, I have Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. This book is so popular. I've seen it for years now and I've had it for a while and I just haven't got around to it yet. So I definitely need to. It's not that long, so I can for sure finish this before the end of the year. I'm really interested in the idea. I don't think it's necessarily fully fantasy, but it's kind of like heightened realism fantasy maybe. There's a cafe in Tokyo where coffee gets served and visitors are allowed to travel back in time. They can travel back in time, but they have to return to the present before their coffee gets cold. I'm assuming it will be little micro stories and that we'll see different customers' journeys, and I know this is part of a series, so I'm excited to read this because if I really love it, there's a lot more to read. So yeah, that's definitely up there on my list. Next I have Villette, which is by Brönte, and I've had this for a while and it's been on my list for so long, so I really want to get around to it. It's definitely more dense, as in like a lot of words and a lot of pages. It's a thick book, so it might take me a little bit longer, but it's up there on the top of my list. I think it's partly based on Brönte's own experiences as a governess or teaching, as a teacher in Brussels. So I'm pretty sure Villette is set partly in a girls' school, so it's a little bit dark academia-esque. And I'm curious about it. I've heard parts of it are written in French. I just love reading a classic that I've never read before at this time of year, before like Christmas. Around that time is always such a fun time to read classics. So this is on my list for sure. Next I have Manifesto by Bernadine Evaristo. I've read her book Girl, Woman, Other, and I found it quite interesting in terms of the construction of the novel, but I've never read any of her non-fiction, so this I'm pretty sure is more of an autobiography or an essay collection. This is broken up into different parts. So she won the Booker Prize with Girl, Woman, Other, and people say that this is a fantastic accompaniment to that novel. So there's 7 parts to this book. So basically it goes through her childhood and her family and the places she's lived, and also the kind of work she's done in her life in drama and politics, and also writing. I think writing might be its own part. And then she talks about her influences and her identity and activism and everything. So I think this will be a really fascinating read. And I always love reading some non-fiction, and I love reading about writers. So the next book I want to read is Margaret Atwood, Old Babes in the Wood, and this is my sister's copy, and she's been reading it and really enjoying it, and so I'm very curious and excited to read it too. I don't really know too much other than the fact that this is her latest collection of short stories, and I've read some other Margaret Atwood shorts. I find her voice really enjoyable to read. Very curious about some of the stories in particular, and my sister said some of them are really funny. So I'm excited to read that. Fun to have some short stories as well, and to vary the types of books that I'm reading. I really enjoy doing that, and also short stories are good too because you don't have to read it all at once, and you can pick it up and put it down and read other books at the same time, because I've always got multiple books going all at once. And I also enjoy essay collections for that reason too, because it's nice to be able to pick up and put down a book and come back to it whenever you feel like it. So I think I'll enjoy reading short stories at this time of year. In a completely different direction, this is absolutely not a short story, but I definitely want to read this too. I'm not sure I'll get to it by the end of the year, but it's on there. It's on my reading list, and it's The Overstory by Richard Powers, and I've been recommended this many times. I think Sarah in my Cambridge book video recommended this, and I've heard a lot of good reviews on this book. It's obviously very, very long, but I do love a long book every now and then. So I know this is a really powerful book in terms of talking about climate, and I'm pretty sure it's about a world in which trees communicate, which is actually true in the world that we live in. But it says on the back, this is not our world with trees in it, it's a world of trees where humans have just arrived. And so I think it moves through various stories of different people at different times. It says, moving through history and across landscapes, this tree-filled novel unfurls our potential to destroy or restore the natural world. So I think this will be a really poignant and powerful read, and I definitely have it up there on my to-be-read list. So let me know in the comments if you've read this what you think. Also let me know in the comments any books that you have on your to be read list for the rest of the year, and also let me know any recommendations to add to my list, because as much as my list is very long, I'm always adding to it and I really take a lot of joy in doing that. So yeah, any recommendations are very welcomed. And I've added so many books from the recommendations you guys have left in comments. Read some of them and I've really loved and enjoyed them, so please keep the recommendations coming. So the next book I want to read is The Lying Life of Adults by Elena Ferrante. I adore her writing. I think this will definitely be something that I'll enjoy. But basically on the back it says, 2 years before leaving home, my father said to my mother that I was very ugly. And I think that's how the story begins. They're saying this is a very powerful novel by Elena Ferrante, again set in Naples like her My Brilliant Friend. And this is about the portrayal of the transition from childhood to adolescence to adulthood, which is one of my favorite types of stories. So I'm very much looking forward to reading this, especially because I loved her other story so much. That was also set in Naples and depicts the coming of age of two women, Lila and Lenu. So I'm really curious to see how Giovanna in this book, how her life and how her story kind of plays out. And I think Elena Ferrante is such a master at writing so deftly about the complexity of being a young woman. Also let me know in the comments any Elena Ferrante fans out there, because I've definitely joined that club. So another book that I really want to read is August Blue by Deborah Levy. So yeah, I've been wanting to read this one for a while as well, and I think it is about, actually again, a story about two women, like Elena Ferrante's My Brilliant Friend, except I don't think it's following that same kind of vein. So it's more about a woman who's in Vienna, goes to Athens and sees another woman who seems to be her like double, who seems very familiar. And so then it says, a dazzling portrait of melancholy and metamorphosis, August Blue uncovers the ways in which we seek to lose an old story, find ourselves in others, and create ourselves anew. So those kind of themes seem really enticing to read about. So I definitely want to pick this one up and read it. There's always so many books I want to read. So I get to the end of the year and all I want to do is read at this time. I have like a massive list on my phone, and I also have to make a Goodreads where we can like all add each other on there. But basically I'll go through a few more books that I really want to read. So I've got Happy All the Time by Laurie, Colwin, which I heard Jack Edwards talk about and it just sounded really interesting. And then I've got Paradise Rot by Jenny Hval, and then I've got Sirens and Muses by Antonia Angress, and Milk Teeth by Jessica Andrews, and The Bookshop Woman by Nanako Hanada, and Interpreter of Maladies by Jhumpa Lahiri. So those are just a few more that I really want to read. And also my mum found this book actually in a bookstore, A Song to Drown Rivers by Liang, and I'm really curious about this one too. It's an adaptation or a novel inspired by the legend of Xixi, one of the famous four beauties of ancient China. A Song to Drown Rivers is an epic novel steeped in myth about womanhood, war, sacrifice, and love against all odds. And I do love the sound of that. So I'm very interested to read this too. Basically, I've got a list hundreds of books long, but I'm always adding to it. Maybe you want to join me in reading any of these books, let me know in the comments, and also let me know what's on your to be read list and any recommendations. I'm always looking for more. It would be fun to read like one of these books as a book club book. Maybe we'll do that in the new year. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more. I'm always making book videos and also other types of videos too. And let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this video. Leave a like and I will be back soon with another video. Thank you.